I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a detailed look at the Ridge Keycase, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. Let's dive in. For those of you who are familiar with or have used key cases before, this is not going to look particularly different from the other designs. However, there are a few things that make Ridge a little bit more unique. So they have a lot of different material options. This one is their aluminum, but it does come in a carbon fiber version, or there are also titanium options. And depending on which one you choose, you are going to get a different bit of a price. So this one here at the time of this video is about $75. There are a couple that are a little bit cheaper or a little bit more expensive. So it really just depends on what your preference is. However, their warranty is pretty solid. If there are any issues with any of these mechanisms, they will replace it within reason, obviously. So you can check out their warranty on their website. So it is one of those things where, you could buy it once and then not have to buy it ever again, which is kind of what you're looking for if you're looking for like a type of investment in your gear. With the actual functionality of this thing, this is designed to keep your keys in place. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 keys in here right now, and I found this to be pretty much the sweet spot. So you just flip out whatever key you want to use, and then you can use it and then slide it back in there. It does have 360-degree functionality there. I did find it a little bit difficult to get to the key that I actually wanted, but that's not a unique issue to this key case in particular. That is, a lot of key cases like this can be hard to actually just pull out the single key that you want to use. But it does keep it nice and neat in your bag if you don't like that jingling and jangling around. This also, it fits total, so like I said, I have 4 in here. It fits a total of 6, so 2 to 6 keys is kind of that range that you can utilize here. We also, what this actually comes with is the tool to open it, and then 2 individual key rings. So I'm going to take out this tool right now, but what I like about these key rings is that it comes with 2, because it comes with the 2 different options. I personally like having a tighter key ring because it makes it a little less unwieldy, but this Chipolo tracker I actually couldn't get on this smaller key ring, so depending on, but you could see that I got my Honda car key on here. So just kind of depends on what keys you have, which honestly goes for this entire thing. So if we're looking at the actual keys that I have in here, in terms of the functionality, so we've got that there you can use to pull out, if you put this top key, if you use that one most, you put it there and it gives you a little finger spot to push it out, which is nice. But if you wanted to add more keys, what you do is you take this tool and you just twist this and open it. It is pretty tedious. So I would say that's the biggest disadvantage of a key ring like this. I get it to a certain point where then I can just twist it with my nails because it's just it goes a little bit faster. But you can see that I'm taking a good amount of time to open this, right? It twists out, takes a little while to actually get to a point where you can do that. So if this is something where you're gonna wanna put different keys on a lot, you're going to want to change this out a lot, a key case in general might not be the best option for you, especially this one, because it is a little bit tedious to get these keys on there. So if I were to open this up, take those keys out for right now, and you can see it's got this pretty solid, this is a little plastic material here. It hinges. Bring it up a little bit closer. I have no issues with that breaking over the course of my testing, and theoretically you're not going to be doing this a ton because I wouldn't recommend changing out your keys a ton. But this little steel lever here pushes it, so if you have only 2 keys on here, it adds a little bit of pressure to make it so that the keys aren't flopping around. So engineering wise, it's pretty solid. The issue is that this steel is kind of hard to push down while you're adding your keys on. So I add my 1 key, push that down, add a 2nd key, push that down, add a 3rd key and push that down. And you can see that I've basically run out of space on that little post there. So if I add another key, I have to then line this up perfectly, get this in here, and it took me a while. And then, this is an issue that other people have too. So it's not just me having issues. My hands are a little bit shaky today as well, and it's been pretty tough to get these on and off, I'm gonna be honest with you. So that's really the biggest disadvantage I would say of this design. If I wanted to put a key fob on there too, it just depends on which key fob you have, whether or not it actually fits. So this one here doesn't fit, but if you had a key fob that didn't have Like honestly, if that little loop there wasn't there, or that little bump, then I could probably get this on perfectly fine, but it would take up a decent amount of key space. So kind of a trade-off. I would say whether or not this is going to be effective for you just depends on your very specific key loadout. But if this is something that works for you, it's well designed, very, very sturdy. And then there's also a clip on the back here where you can like clip it to your pants or something like that, especially if you don't have any of these key rings on here. It just makes it a little less unwieldy. So it just depends on what you have. If you're finding this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. In terms of packability, like I mentioned, there is this clip on the back here, so it's very easy to just slide onto a pair of pants or something. I'm gonna step back so you can see what it looks like. So obviously I don't have a traditional pair of like jeans or something on, but it clips on very, very easily and it feels really secure. This, obviously I have my fobs and things dangling down. Not a super great look, but it's not terrible. Also, if I wanted to stick this, oh, that's a zippered pocket. If I wanted to stick this in my pocket, I could, and then, you know, attach it to like the end there so it stays pretty secure. So in terms of actual packability, especially compared to other key chain or key cases like this on the market, it is very sturdy. It's very low profile. I mean, like relatively so. Obviously it's going to be less, it's going to add some bulk like to your keys, but in general fits very easily in pockets, feels very secure. So I would say packability for this thing is not an issue. It's just whether or not you attach a bunch of extra stuff on this that makes it a little bit more unwieldy. Like I mentioned, there are a lot of key cases on the market that do a very similar function to this, one of them being Orbit Key. Orbit Key, I would say, is their biggest competitor in like the key case market. So they have a lot of different designs, a lot of different materials. This is their more recent Pro version, which actually doesn't require a tool to open, which I think is the biggest selling point of this one, to be honest. And then, you know, obviously it's gonna take a while to, they all have that same functionality where like putting keys on is just kind of annoying. So like if you're gonna be switching your keys around a lot, I would really highly suggest looking into an alternative from a key case because it will get pretty tedious. But with this, this is like a ratcheting tool as well that's built in. So I wonder if you can hear the click. Maybe not because there's no keys on here, but basically it adjusts the tension very naturally versus having this little clip in here, that steel clip that made it kind of difficult to fit the keys on. It's done naturally with this, the actual like functionality of the key case, if that makes sense. There's also this little tool in here, the quick flip tool, which allows you to like select one key that you could very quickly and easily flip up instead of needing to search. However, like I mentioned, you can very easily just put whatever key you want most often on the top here and very easily get to it that way. They do have a couple of different options. So this is the Pro version. This is their original, which I would say is more like the Ridge Keycase, only because it does also have that sort of opening here that requires a tool versus just being like something you can use your fingers. And then this kind of flops around versus being stitched in place like with the Pro version, and it's stitched in place on the Ridge Keycase too. I would say the biggest difference between these, because the functionality is pretty similar, the biggest difference is material and price. So with the Orbit Key, this is $10 cheaper, the Pro version at the time of this video, than the aluminum version of this, which the aluminum version of the Ridge Keycase is one of the cheaper options. So you are going to be like quote unquote upgrading, I guess, if you go with the Ridge, but it doesn't necessarily feel like a functional upgrade so much as it is maybe just like a style preference, a brand preference, or maybe material preference. At the time of this video, the Pro only comes in leather options, whereas the original one does, it ranges anywhere from like $25 to $45 depending on the material. This one's like a leather, but there are some other cheaper options as well. So it really just comes down to, honestly, the aesthetic that you're looking for. But in terms of like all three of these, in terms of the functionality, I think the Orbit Key Organizer Pro is the easiest to get keys on and off, and it just seems to work a little bit better. So there you have it, the Ridge Keycase. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.